we are going to try to make apple turnovers with this what is it, Pillsbury dough, because I'm not going to try to make the dough. It's a little too complicated for me. As you can see, some folks cut it like this and then they go straight down. Seen that technique, that method, and whatever works. But they just need to be peeled off and ready to go. Okay, so when you pick the Granny Smiths, I actually chose the ones that were most beat up because of what I was going to use them for. I wasn't going to eat them and, you know, look at them and be like, oh, these are really pretty. I actually picked the most beat up because they're going to be nice and brown and sugary and sweet. So I figured for what I was going to use them for, it didn't matter if they look pretty or not. These to be cut at a 1/3 of an inch in size. So the size actually matters here, so you guys know. Cut them nice and small, like really, really small. You don't want them to overpack what you're trying to fill in. Okay, so here we have the butter, and I have it over medium heat. And once it melts, I will add the apple pieces. Okay, so we have it nice and warm. It's not too brown or anything. It's still yellow and runny. So we're gonna go ahead and add the apples here. Hey guys, so it turns out that while we were putting in the one, it just looked like there wasn't enough butter. And honestly, I think I just grabbed 3 of the largest apples. Again, just size really matters. So I grabbed the largest apples. So I went ahead and I modified the recipe a little bit and actually grabbed 2 more tablespoons. And we're gonna go with that. Keep stirring, and then I'll be right back. Guys, we're coming up on a 30 seconds left and out of 5 minutes, and this is looking like this with what I put in it. The 3 large apples, the 3 tablespoons of butter. It actually smells really good just as it is right now. Oh my god. I'm actually kind of interested in what it's going to smell like when the brown sugar and the salt come together, and the cinnamon. I mean, because right now at this point my stomach is piquing its interest. Our time is done, so I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this to low heat. So I doubled the brown sugar because I tripled, or I believe the sizes of the apples were just way too big. So I'm actually kind of right now just winging things as I do in this channel. So if you guys see this inconsistency and it bothers you, I apologize, but I'm not a professional at this. But moving forward, because we don't slow down over here. Oh man, that brown instantly makes things so much different. So there's our brown sugar with our butter and our apples. We're gonna go ahead and start adding some cinnamon and some salt. Okay, so here I have a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of the salt. Just kind of like sprinkle it all around. I actually went a little further from the top because again I got like 3 spoons or 3 large apples. Get some cinnamon. Here we got 3/4 tablespoon here, or teaspoon. Is that teaspoon? Yeah, 3/4 of a teaspoon here, and we're just gonna dump that in there. And honestly, I wouldn't even care if you put more or less because I love cinnamon. Now we're just gonna go ahead and integrate and mix all these guys together. We're gonna go ahead and put this in for 3 minutes. And it says that should be it. I actually kind of want to go a little warmer because this is looking really wet, and it looks like we have a lot now. So I don't want it to be too soapy or sappy, or not. I want it to be sappy actually. I want it to be kind of thick. So I'm gonna let it render a little bit. So as soon as it looks a little lower, I'm actually gonna raise the heat a little bit. Again, I'm tweaking. I'm doing things kind of off the rails. But hopefully everything works out. So we tried it real quick because you got to give it a taste test, and it was a little under in the sugar category. This is someone else's recipe, and for us we just modified it a little bit, and we're gonna add a little more sugar to it because it's actually the salt a little too strong, and by strong I mean you can definitely taste it, and I figure a little extra sugar won't be too bad. So we're just gonna let it render a little longer. It's getting there. It's getting nice and thick. but it's a little runny as well. So, but they taste really good. It's just not exactly the level of sweetness that we wanted. We're just gonna let this rest. We have no more fire on, and it's just gonna cool down. And we might as well start working on the dough. And I went ahead and actually just got ahead of it and opened this guy up. And we're gonna take this out. And then the recipe calls for these to get kind of flat. All right, guys, so I just went ahead and prepared my surface with flour, and I opened it up, and I went ahead and took one of these guys out and split it in half. So here I just kind of spread out a few of them. I actually got my girls to help me out. We're gonna get some 1 egg, and I believe it's 1 tablespoon of water, and how we're gonna start preparing our egg wash. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a nice little generous spoonful, place it here like so. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our egg in our water, whisk it around. All right, so I'm gonna take some of the egg wash, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it around the lips, because the egg wash can actually act like a glue. So I'm going to start gluing them. All right, now I'm just gonna start capping these off like this. Now that I have a little more room. I believe the guy had like, goes in one, goes in again, goes in like this, 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 goes in like that. And just go in pinch, 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 something like that. I'm supposed to cut holes in there too, because you want to make sure that this doesn't burst out. This is what they look like, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut, puncture somehow a little hole in here. So they want us to use a regular oven. So since we're using the caloric, it says 350 for 13 to 16 minutes, but because it's the caloric and it's, it's small and there's a lot of power in it, we might go 325 for about 11 minutes and see what happens. Now, I've never done this before. I keep saying that, but so that's what I'm hoping I get. I mean, I've seen it on other videos and everyone else's, whenever they put the glaze and stuff, and it comes out like an extra darker color, kind of crispy, and I'm hoping that is the case, because you never know. Sometimes you don't actually get your results. I'm actually going to add a little sprinkle of sugar on top of these. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and put this in here in the air frying section. We're going to go ahead and hit the start. Air fry. We're going to go for 11 at 325. So we want it to be at 325. We'll hit the start, and hopefully we'll get lucky and look back and be like, we did it just right the first time. All right, guys, we're just at about the halfway point, and they're starting to get a little brown. It's getting some color, and we got to turn them real quick. Don't forget, always turn them, because that one side in the back on your caloric will always go harder than the other. So there we go. All right, so even though we just flipped them, they're starting to look brown, and we don't want it to get too brown. So we actually went from 325. We actually dropped it to 280. Again, my wife and I were worried that we're gonna overcook them. So again, play with the caloric, lower it if you need to. But this thing is so strong that we're scared of it. So we don't want to waste anything. So we just lowered it, and hopefully you guys can see that it's starting to look really good, really fast. I'm a huge worrywart when it comes to cooking. This is where we're at 4 minutes. I'm actually gonna put it even lower. Now, instead of reducing the temperature, I'm actually just gonna put it one lower. All right, guys, time is up. Not bad looking. Really not that bad. I'm just gonna use the bacon rack here real quick, just to hold this up. I don't want to be too brutal with the bacon rack because it's got the non-stick and this is bare. So we're just gonna set it down here and cool down. I'm actually gonna go ahead and just pick one up real quick. Listen, I flipped them and my wife and I, we smelled their butts and their butts smell kind of doughy. So we're gonna put them back in for like 3 more minutes at like about 280. All right, so we're gonna glaze the back sides because this works. It's worked for me, it's going to work for you. A little glaze goes a long way. We are going to place it on the top, the second to the top, because we want it to cook quickly. We don't want to mess around. Start. 3 minutes. You know what? I'll do it I'll do it at 320. 325, excuse me. And then we'll see what happens. All right, guys, 3 minutes is up. And now we have nice cooked all around. I mean, I think it's they looked a lot better than they did moments ago, so yes. I'm gonna flip them over so you guys can see that I didn't do any shenanigans. No wool being pulled over anyone's head. And yeah, I think these are gonna be good to go. The moment of truth. We are gonna cut down this right down the middle. Looks airy, which is good. It's really important. I was afraid that we weren't gonna get the airiness of it out of it. And it looks and sounds crispy. Now, I'm gonna taste it. And hopefully it's everything I wanted it to be. I'm gonna grab the camera. I'm gonna allow my wife to take a bite because she worked pretty hard in this. Okay, you can put it down now. You can put it down. It came out good, folks. It's really good. I'm always afraid that what we do might kind of look funny and silly and I don't know, but it didn't. It didn't fail. This tastes really good. Good for us. Happy New Year's, guys. I hope you guys have a great one, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, take care. Bye.